Today we have a game called Pamela. It's by Duck. It's a kindergarten. I'm kindergarten getisted. Okay, this game is obviously not in English. It's in like every language you can think of. Here's Pamela, Spanish. Pamela, British. Pamela, French. Pamela, Italian. Maybe that one's Italian. All of those but English, unless you count Britain. The only one that's in English is Game Idea. Kim and Andy love apple jam, but the apples have to be plucked first, and that looks a lot easier than it actually is. This game develops dexterity, hand-eye coordination, and concentration. Okay? So, Pamela. You have this tree here. You have these rules here. You have these apple balls here. And you put the apple balls on the various spots of the apple tree. And these are the apple basket. And here's the timer. Now, I think what you have to do is, I haven't looked at the rules. Make sure nothing's missing. But I think what you have to do is apparently one apple is missing. You have to somehow pick up the apple, I think you have to move the apple You either have to move the apple from one blank hole to another without it falling off the tree, or you have to somehow pick it up with this stick. I think that's how the game works. And you have the timer till the timer runs out to do so. Let's see if that's what the rules say. Okay, here's the rules in English. It says, Kim and Andy love apple jam, but the apples have to be plucked first, and that looks a lot easier than it actually is. This game develops dexterity, hand-eye coordination, and concentration. Ages 4 to 99. Players 1 or more. Contents of playing board, which is the apple tree. 2 pickers. We're supposed to have 2 of these, which we don't have, so we're missing stuff. 10 wooden balls. We're supposed to have 10, which we're missing 2, so we don't have 2 of the balls. 30 winning tokens, that would be these little apples. A sand glass, and an hourglass, that's what they're called, hourglasses. And a basket, which, you have the basket. Creators of the game idea was Peter Schuck, and illustrations was Archie Fled. Today, Kim and Andy have to go up particularly early because they are going with their granddad to the large meadow outside the village. There are a lot of fruit trees there, and as the apples have turned a dark red, shiny color over the last few days, they are now ripe for picking. Granddad has promised to make sweet jam for the 2 of them if they pick a lot of apples. Game preparation. The players must first decide if they want to play alone or in pairs. Playing in pairs requires more skill. The fruit tree is placed down in front of the first player or the first pair of players and filled with the 10 apples, the wooden balls. The basket is placed approximately 20 centimeters away from the tree, and the sand glass and jam jars are put in the center of the table. The first player takes the 2 fruit pickers in his hand. If the player is played by a pair of players, each of his 2 players takes 1 fruit picker. Rules of the game. The time allowed to each player or pair of players is a half minute. That means the sand must run through the glass once. For younger players, the time allowed can be increased to 1 minute, i.e. the sand must run through the glass twice. The ones who are not picking fruit in this go are the timekeepers. That means the sand glass, as soon as all the sand has run through, once everything has been set up, the timekeeper turns the sand glass and the first player or the first pair of players and try to bring them over to the basket and put them in without letting them fall. It is not permissible to lob the apples, and any apples that fall outside the basket will be taken out of the game. Meanwhile, the timekeepers watch the sand glass and the go is over as soon as the sand has run through, unless time has been extended to 1 minute, in which case the timer is turned over again. End of the game. As soon as the timekeepers say the sand has run through completely, the player or pair of players stop and the collected apples are counted. The player or pair of players are given 1 jam jar for every apple. The apple tree is filled again now, and the next player or the next pair of players can take their go. The game is over when every player or pair of players has the most with the most jam jars wins. Wishing you lots of merriment. Alright, so basically I need another one of these. So what you do is you have one of these in both hands and you try to pick up apples. You try to pick up the apples with these in both hands, and you try to pick them up and put them in the basket. And the more apples you get in the basket before the timer runs out, the more jams you get. And by the time all 10 apples are picked up and moved to the basket, then the game's over and everybody counts their jams. Or each player gets a turn, and then whoever has the most jams counts their jams. Or you can play until the jams all run out, and once there's no longer any more jams, they all get their turn. Either way, that's how you play it. So basically, you have the apple thing filled, then you got this thing like over here, basket like over here, and you try to pick them up and move them to the basket before that runs out. Simple mechanics, simple concept, potentially simple to play, and voila. And if you think about it, these sticks, they kind of make it look like an apple tree. So remember, God's good all the time God's good. Keep on gaming, like, comment, subscribe, and share. And this is a little kindergarten kids dexterity game that you might enjoy. Laters. Laters, guys and gals. Have a great day, everybody. Signing off now.